Hey, it's Jamie with Running Restaurants. I've got a great snippet for you from a recent in-depth webinar we did called The Top 8 Restaurant Mistakes and How to Fix Them. In this clip, Roger Beaudoin of Restaurant Rockstars covers one of the mistakes. Here you go. Mistake number 5, not recognizing and rewarding top performance. Big one, big one. What you got?
Oh, yeah. So these things do not have to be expensive, but they are morale builders. And you cannot have too much positive morale in your business because morale is part of your company culture. I mentioned earlier, what's the aura? What's the common thread? Are people happy working for you, or do they want to head for the door and find a better opportunity? So recognizing and rewarding is one of those things that people look forward to. It enriches their job. It gives them an opportunity to get some sort of a reward. But everybody works for a paycheck. That goes without saying. Everybody needs to make money, and people are there for the paycheck, sure. But it's the emotional piece that cements them to your business. If they feel appreciated, if they feel recognized, if they feel rewarded, if they get pats on the back for going above and beyond, and if they get opportunities to move up, that's what keeps people in your business. And that's what builds your business, because you're not losing thousands of dollars every time you lose a new hire. And we know that that's the case. Lost time, wages, productivity, all those things cost your restaurant a ton of money if you
Yeah.
lose people, and you got to keep finding people. So recognition rewards is a big one. And we can certainly
Yeah, I'm
talk.
gonna go. I'm going to the. I keep wanting to grab books today. I'm gonna go to the slide you have in a second. But I talk about it in almost every session we do. Yeah, I tell folks I read a chapter every day from the book. How to win friends and influence people by Dale Carnegie, old school book. But like, if you read a little bit of the book every day or every month, it just cements these basic things that we all know. People like to be recognized. People like to be rewarded. And there's a couple pages in there that talk about how we we're fast to criticize, but we're very, very slow to pat people on the back. People, and the phrase that's ringing in my head, people can go 6 days and 6 weeks and 60 years without getting the thank you. The example was a spouse. You just take your spouse for granted sometimes. Like, don't take your people for granted. You are thankful for them. Don't be afraid to say it. A digression there that I could go into for a long, long time. But anyway, get that book, read that book. Roger, this is, I assume a game here for the staff to play with and recognize them. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, this was so much fun, and this was such a huge morale builder, but it was really a competition. Okay. Now, I missed earlier stating that when we were talking about the sales opportunities versus the order taker, one very big difference in my restaurant was, we talked about fun being part of our culture. But most restaurants, if they're full serve restaurants, have very specific specific requirements in the job, and they're very delineated. Okay, what do I mean by that? All right. A host. You walk into a full serve restaurant and you're greeted by a host or a hostess. And what do? They greet you, they tell you, oh, maybe it's a 10-minute wait, or I can seat you right away. They answer the phone, maybe they do takeout orders. I mean, that's basically the primary responsibility of a host. Not in my restaurant. Bussers or back waits, what do? They clear tables. They reset tables after wiping them down. They communicate to the host, oh, table 3 is ready to be reset. Not in my restaurant. Servers and bartenders, we know what they do. We cross-trained everybody in product and restaurant knowledge, where every single one of those positions was a salesperson. The host could make a recommendation while you're waiting for your table. Oh, don't miss the chocolate peanut butter blast or the raspberry cream disaster. Leave room for that. That's my favorite. And over the phone, they ask questions. And if it's a takeout or a delivery order, you say, well, how many people do you have? And do you have kids? And oh my God, the kids are going to love our homemade churros. And you got to try. They're salespeople. They're not order takers. The busser, here's the big deal. Our bussers were trained in the basics of wine knowledge. So if a lady's glass of wine was empty at a table and the server for that table's in the kitchen and the busser recognizes that, did you enjoy that glass of wine? Can I bring you another? Or can I make a suggestion? I see that you had the fish tonight. Oh my gosh, the Kendall Jackson Chardonnay is amazing with that salmon, or whatever. You know what? They were trained to do that. And they could go to the point of sale system. While that server was in the kitchen getting somebody else's food, that busser could make a sale, go to the POS, order it, go to the bar, pick it up, and deliver it. That's the cross training I'm talking about. All right. So besides that, everyone was working to move up. So we had bussers that would become servers, and we had servers that would become bartenders, and we had hosts that could become servers and bartenders, and they would make more money and they would obviously move up. We've been down that road. Okay, let's get on to the bingo thing. Healthy competition is a good thing. We had prizes and incentives all the time for people to be competitive. And it wasn't just the servers and the bartenders that could win. It could be the host. It could be the busser. Who knows? Everybody's in the trenches on the floor with all these series of opportunities that are either captured at that lightning quick, precise moment of truth or lost forever. Everyone had a chance to play bingo and make some extra money and win prizes and all that kind of stuff. So how does it work? Everyone's played that game bingo, right? It's got to be 100 years old. We created bingo cards, sometimes on a weekend nightly basis and sometimes for the middle of the week, but we always had these new bingo cards. And instead of the numbers that you see on the standard bingo card, we wrote down all the things that we wanted to sell, most profitable items, cash cows, those super profitable items that don't cost you much to put in front of the guest, the coffee drinks, the hooks, the special glacier bowl drinks that were super profitable, that are specialty cocktails, bottles of wine, anything that we needed to move. Like if we brought in a lot of fresh fish, say on a Friday, but it didn't all sell, it's like we had to push it by Saturday. Okay, so we printed all these things on these bingo cards, and everyone had their own bingo card. So now every single shift, they get turned loose to go to their tables and make these suggestions, and they go around collecting bingos. Okay, the first person, we know how bingo is played. The first person that gets across, up or down or diagonal and fills in all the spaces by selling those particular items that are in those spaces won a really valuable prize. And that was such a powerful thing. And the team just loved playing that game, and it really moved the merchandise. You know what I mean? So a simple idea. I didn't come up with bingo. I mean, I didn't create the game. I just created restaurant bingo, and made it our own.
Great stuff there from Roger Beaudoin of Restaurant Rockstars. This was part of our in-depth webinar called The Top 8 Restaurant Mistakes and How to Fix Them. For the full webinar, plus access to over 1,000 other hospitality tips, tricks, and tools, go to runningrestaurants.com/subscribe. That's runningrestaurants.com/subscribe.